Hello, my fuzzy little furballs. This is Sydney, and I'm coming back to you for a reading log for my reading log of, wow, I don't remember the months, March of 2024. I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I did finally get a better setup so I can articulate better, and hopefully the quality of these videos will be a little bit better. So instead of starting this time with the books that I read that came out this month, I'm going to start with the books that I read that didn't come out this month because there's only two. Because I guess I just had too many releases to really keep up with my backlog well. So the only two I read were Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Genji's Rescue Team. This is a single volume based on the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue and Red Rescue Team games. Probably shouldn't hold it at that angle so you don't break the illusion. Yeah, I really enjoyed the story for this one. It makes me kind of want to get into the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, even if I'm not generally a fan of the dungeon crawling type of gameplay, even though I'm a Persona fan, so that kind of doesn't match with that, but you get what I'm getting at. I don't know. Mystery Dungeon's never been too interesting to me, but I love the story in the manga. Maybe I'll just consume all the Mystery Dungeon games through the manga. Anyways, next up we have Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 12. This is getting close to the end of the Dark Tournament arc, and after that, we only have one more arc to go in Yu Yu Hakusho. I am really enjoying this. It is a fantastic series, definitely worth all the hype, and I definitely think the Dark Tournament's where things really, really take off with his writing. I think it's a great arc and a great series. All right, so for new releases that I read this month, we have Alice in Borderland Volume 9. This is the final volume of Alice in Borderland, collected in these two-in-one volumes. I really enjoyed the ending to this. Three-quarters of the way through, I think I was kind of falling off the story because I wasn't a fan of how things were kind of kept getting presented in like these weird flashbacks, and the pacing was a little off, but I did enjoy the ending, and overall, I think I enjoyed the entire series pretty well. Next, we've got Insomniacs After School, Volume 5. This series has grown on me a bit more after watching the anime and after reading it more. I definitely think the art in the manga is just very, very pretty. A lot of really good perspective shots and a lot of beautiful art. It's interesting seeing like all these different ways to use cameras and how it kind of goes a bit in depth about it. It's a nice change of pace. I don't really see photography talked about much in manga. Maybe that's just the stuff I read. Next, we've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean, Volume 3. I actually had to get a different volume of this because my previous one had like terrible misprints with pages being misaligned and everything. It was rough. But yeah, this volume ends with the fight against everybody's favorite stand, Flaccid Pancake, or as he's been unfortunately localized as, instead of Limp Biscuit, it's something a little less fun than Flaccid Pancake. I don't remember what it was though. It's the localization name's not that memorable compared to Flaccid Pancake, but yeah, his fight's a really interesting one, and Stone Ocean has always been my favorite part, and I'm enjoying finally reading it physically for once, even if the anime didn't really do too perfectly well compared to previous parts. But yeah, I still recommend it wholeheartedly. Then we've got Blade of the Moon Princess Volume 3 by Tatsuya Endo. I don't know why I specified for this one the mangaka, but you know what? It's whatever. I don't really feel strongly opinionated one way or the other about Blade of the Moon Princess. The first volume I was interested in it, and I feel like my interest has kind of waned a bit as it goes on. It's only going to be 5 volumes, so I'm wondering how it's going to end, how it's going to wrap up the story this quickly, because it seems like it's building up a lot of things. So we'll have to see how that goes. Then we've got Blue Box Volume 9. This volume expounded a bit more on the love triangle that's been established between the three main leads. We're also, let's see, yeah, it was basically the second female interest getting more of her own time to shine and more of her own spotlight, and getting to learn a little bit about a different character as well. Still a fantastic shonen rom com. It's less of a com, more like a rom, whatever it's called. Then we've got Dark Gathering Volume 6. This is definitely still doing really well in my opinion. The art's very, very nice, very different than what I expected it to be. It's good horror art with a lot of interesting premises, and I like how it integrates real horror in Japan into its story. So fantastic so far. Looking forward to reading more of it. Then we've got Helk Volume 8. We are getting closer to the end of this series. Uh, we do kind of have. Well, this one's one I can't really explain without spoiling the story, but we have a lot of character growth for the main lead here, and her opinions on things changing, us learning more about another one of the Dark Lords. It's interesting. I enjoy it. I'm just not in love with it. Then we've got Like a Butterfly Volume 5. We are expounding more on finally getting the relationship established between the two leads, the male and the female lead. That's just her friend on the cover. Love her though. She's a great side character. Um, she's another. I can't remember if she's the main character's rival or not. I don't remember her too well. Been a bit since I read this. Still like the story. The art's really pretty. I love Morishida's art so far. Next up, we have Mao, Volume 16. We this is it's like talking about Inuyasha. There's not really a lot to talk about. It's just we get more of the mystery going on. We get more in-depth character explanations. We get fights of the week. It's a good series. I really recommend it. Though I haven't read any of Takahashi's series all the way through, so I don't know if it's that different from her other series in the way it's formatted with the story. Next up, we have Mashal Volume 15. I mentioned the last few volumes have been very underwhelming to me. Um, I'm fine with the main character getting like crazy powers and that sort of stuff because it's very shonen. I didn't like with the side characters just kind of magically won their fights. I do like that we are getting more on one of the Magia Lupus members, that they're not just completely useless in the story. But, there's some contrivances in these last several volumes that have kind of made me fall out of love a bit with the series. It's been a lot less comedy, a lot more action, and trying to wrap up the story. Next, we have One Piece Volume 105. We are getting very close to the end of Wano here. I think we're actually. Wait. No, we finished Wano here. Let's see. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. Oh, yes. We have the post Wano wrap up in this volume where we learn about new bounties and that sort of stuff. Typical things that you'd expect from a One Piece after an arc finishes. So we're going to be getting into the next arc soon here, which is pretty exciting. Next, we have One Piece Ace's Story, the manga, Volume 1. Kind of torn on this. I love the art style. I do really wish the adaptation of the light novel that this is was longer than just 2 volumes because there's so much cut out, and I would have loved to seen like maybe like a 5, 6 volume release of the manga that fully adapts the light novel because I want to see all these characters and I want to experience the stories. It's unfortunate they have to cut characters out and cut plot points out just so it can condense into this 2 volume release. But Boichi is a fantastic mangaka, and I have one other series from him that I'm really enjoying. I think his art is fantastic. Uh, Next, we have One Piece Shokugeki no Sanji. This is a omnibus, or an omnibus. This is a collection of all of the Shokugeki no Sanji spin-off chapters that were published in Shonen Jump. This is a spin-off of One Piece by the creators of Food War. Very enjoyable, very fan servicey. If you like Food War, you like One Piece, you'll like this. Next up, we have Spy Family Volume 11. I actually don't really remember that much from this volume, to be honest. Let me just flip through this. Oh, yeah. Terrorism. That's all I have to say. I enjoyed it. Just for some reason, I've forgotten most of it. I think it's because I read it so early in the month. It was a good volume, though. It's Spy Family. Spy Family is usually pretty good. Lastly, for Viz, we have Pink Heart Jam Volume 2 by Shige. Um, I was recommended this series by a friend. I do really enjoy it. I think it's got a lot of really good premises, or a lot of really good concepts in it. The characters are good. Um, I like the art. Nothing really bad about the series. It's a two-volume commitment, so definitely worth a try. Next, I'm going to be getting to the seven Seas releases that I read in March, starting with 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You, Volume 9. We have a masseuse girlfriend introduced in this volume. Um, Still loving how raunchy and raucous this series is. It's extremely over the top. Of course, it's got some really iffy stuff in there, but I've kind of just come to accept it as deconstructions of the tropes and kind of deconstruction and also embracing the tropes present in harem series. There is weird age gap stuff, so be careful of that if that's something that's going to bother you. Next up, we have Black Knight Parade Volume 2. This is by the creator of Saint Young Men, another series I really want to get into. Um, we've I don't want to explain what happens in this volume because it's going to spoil some stuff. I like the character that was introduced in the volume, how they play off the main character, and how they kind of give a main character a sense of somewhat purpose instead of just feeling like he's been thrown into this and that he's just here because he is. We get some more explanation as to why he's here in this situation in the Black Santa's workshop. That still feels really weird to say. um, Next, we have Delinquent Daddy and Tender Teacher Volume 3. Really cute, fun BL. It's got some drama in this volume, but it's still a very cute, enjoyable read. I'd recommend to anybody who's fine with slightly explicit series like this. I think we're only a couple volumes away from the ending. Then we've got The Haunted Bookstore Volume 4. I've gone through phases of with this series. I think it's got a lot of interesting stories to tell. I don't really like the art that much, personally. I think it's the perspectives and the construction of the faces are not especially good, in my opinion. The manga also ends on an original, not an original ending, but it ends on a to be continued sort of ending, ending at a certain arc, ending in the light novel, and just not adapting to the rest. Um, I'm neutral on it. I don't think I love or hate it, honestly. Then we've got No Longer Allowed in Another World, Volume 5. Still really enjoying this series. I've enjoyed it from the get go. Uh, don't remember too much about what happens here. Right, right. Yeah, we do get some more information on the other heroes that are reincarnated to this world that need to be taken care of as we slowly, go on the adventure to take care of the heroes they're aiming at right now. Very much recommend this series, though. It's a good isekai, good comedy. If you like No Longer Human by Samu Dazai, I believe that's his name. I might be getting that wrong. Um, yeah, if you like that book, then I think you would like this series, especially if you like isekai or like parodies of isekai. And then we've got The Dangerous Convenience Store Volume 2. This is just straight up smut, and I don't mind. Some smut's good sometimes, even if the guy has Dorito ass yaoi shoulders. They're both very cute. They don't have the most healthy relationship in the world, but it's good smut. Um, and I like it. Yeah, not really a lot to say about it. It's not a deep story. Then we've got The Eccentric Doctor of the Moonflower Kingdom, Volume 5, continuing to be an enjoyable series, very similar to Apothecary Diaries in concept and conceit alone. Um, a lot of the executions and characters are very different. It's more of a look at the. Trying to think of how to phrase this. Instead of like Eastern medicine, more like Western medicine practices. Things like surgeries, things like um, things like surgeries and that sort of thing instead of things like herbal care and acupuncture. I don't really know the best way to phrase this. There's a hilarious joke in this volume that I don't want to spoil, though. If you like Apothecary Diaries, definitely read this. Less mystery, more just detailed explanations of doctory stuff mixed with humor. Then we've got Last Game Volume 4. We finally in this volume, a bit of a spoiler, start finally getting through to the girl that she might have feelings for the male lead, because that's kind of the conceit of the series is she's very like non-emotive. It's hard to tell what she's really thinking, but it seems like we're finally getting some progress with that. Um, it's an enjoyable classic series. I say classic, but it only Came out in the 2010, so it's not terribly old. Then we've got the final volume of Polar Bear Cafe, the collector's edition, volume 4. I really like this cover art and the design on the spine. It's a cute series. It's short. It doesn't really have an ending. It just kind of ends. There's nothing that gets wrapped up, but it's an enjoyable series, especially since it's only 4 volumes. Then we've got Yokai Cats Volume 7. There was a cute Ninetales introduced in this volume that was adorable. I think probably the best word is kitsune. I don't know what they actually call the cat thing in here. Oh, that actually. Oh, yeah. Well, they say one who grows 9 tails, so that's not exactly helping me differentiate. But yeah, cute art, enjoyable series. I like anything by Pandania, the creator of this series, and a couple other ones. They've got cute art, cute fun situations. It's a light read. Then we've got Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko, Volume 4. We're getting close to the end with this volume. Let me make sure I'm remembering what happens in this volume correctly. Yes, we have some good character growth from Alpha in this volume, and we get more exploration of the central mystery that's going on in the series. It's not even like a super big mystery. It's like there's something that's different with Alpha versus the other androids, and we're kind of learning more about that in this volume. I think it's probably going to wrap up in the next volume with the conclusion of the series. It's a very good series, especially if you like relaxing countryside series. I know Hazel. It's pretty much the only reason I got into this series. She's a YouTuber who does video essays on a lot of really interesting topics, and she had a video about the anime countryside with Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko in it, and that's the only reason I checked it out, and I really am thankful for it because it's a great series. Anyways, I'm going to get down to the Kodansha reads with Welcome Back Alice Volume 6. Love this series. I don't think Shuzo Oshimi can do any wrong with his stories. All of them are really good. This is like a psychological exploration of sex, gender, and how it affects these high schoolers, and it kind of reflects a bit on how he was when he was a high schooler back in his youth, how he really feels about his body. It's a very interesting series, but it's very triggering, so be careful of that. Especially if something bothers you about like sexual abuse, about manipulation. None of the characters are like great people. They're all struggling. But yeah, I don't think there's any Shuzo Oshimi work where everybody's perfect. He usually has some really messed up stuff in his series. Aside from Shino can't say her name, that one just has bullying. Then we've got Medalist Volume 1. I really, really loved this series so far. It is a fantastic first volume, exploring this young girl getting inspired and becoming an ice skater because of this coach who is kind of living out his failed dream through her, but not in a negative way. He's just seeing that she's going through what he went through and he wants to help her so she doesn't end up not being able to achieve her dreams. And it's a very good, touching series with beautiful art. Very much would recommend this series to anybody. Then we've got My Lovesick Life as a 90s Otaku Volume 2. This is full of so many cute references to 90s anime and manga. Uh, ref- Twisting it in with like current day references. We get a bit more of the romance developing in this volume, which is really good. It seems like we might actually have. I don't know what's going to happen because we see in the future she's not with the person that she's pining after in her high school years, so I don't know how that's going to go. But this is a great series, especially if you like a lot of anime and manga and you like to see them kind of referenced jokingly. And also has very explicitly like there's no way you can't tell who those two are if you've read Yu Yu Hakusho. Uh, it literally talks about like that's BL doujinshi between real characters. It doesn't. I don't think it specifically says. I can't remember, but yeah, it's really good. A lot of cute references. It's good comedy. Next is Nina the Starry Bride Volume 3. We're getting a kind of what seems like a brand new arc starting in this volume with this guy right here who is a barrel of fun. I'm really wondering and interested how this is going to resolve. I don't want to spoil much about his personality or what goes on, but it's really adding a lot of intrigue and layers to the series. And I'm just realizing those are on camera, and I don't want them to be. Anyways, next we have Number Call by Nagisa Furuya. I really enjoyed this. I like BL that isn't always about sex. Sometimes, because a lot of BL that gets published over here tends to be. This is like a shonen ai more so than a yaoi. So it's basically two people with similar conceits to their name, being different versions of the way to say eight, nicknames for that sort of thing, and how one of them helps them overcome the other's insecurity with their name and how they develop a relationship together. It's a very cute, it's a good series. I'd recommend it, especially since it's only one volume, which probably means I shouldn't say series, but whatever. Then we've got Quality Assurance in Another World, Volume 6. Um, Let me make sure I'm remembering. Yeah. Okay. Usually I have to flip through these for a minute, just double check on what happens. So my memory's not the best with all this series I read. Yeah, we're finally finishing up. It seems like we're finally finishing up their time in the dungeon, and we are getting more information about other characters like Nicola, who is kind of been possessed by this meta entity. So we're getting information about other ones like her. We get to see them a little bit more. We also get like some fun explanations and solutions to puzzles and things going on in the game, where they, use their powers of figuring out these weird glitches to fix fights in their favor. Like going over exploits for bosses, that sort of thing. It's a good series. I think it's a pretty good isekai. It's more fun if you are into game development or quality assurance, but it's a good isekai regardless. Then we've got Rent a Girlfriend Volume 23, and I'm worried I'm finally starting to lose steam with this series. I have been a Rent a Girlfriend defender from the beginning, but I will admit this volume has been my least favorite so far. The fan service is extremely blatant and out of character somewhat for the main character. Just the way he acts in some of the situations feels like he's being a bit more of a flanderized version of himself. So I'm not sure how that's going to do for the plot, but I'm going to give it a few more volumes before I really decide how I feel about the series post the movie arc, which has been the best part of the series so far. At least the art's still great and the outfit designs are still really cute. I want to close up on Cheezer's outfit in there, but she's wearing a bikini, so it would feel really weird to just close up on her regions that are covered with her clothing. So I'm not going to do that. Next, we're going to talk about Wisteria Wand and Sword, Volume 7. I'm so confused about this series. It seems like characters are dying and being brought back to life, but not really. It seems like all of it was just a prelogue up to this volume where things seem to really be taking off. So I'm definitely interested in the story. Just generally not a fan of characters dying just to come back later. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen to anybody else or what exactly the situation is here. Still think the art's great. I still think the story's interesting enough to keep reading. Yeah, that's all of Code Dansha. Then I'm going to get into, let's do Yen Press with Elden Ring Volume 2. I'm actually planning on starting to play Elden Ring. Don't know how that's going to go because I'm not great with super hard games like that. But yeah, this made me want to play the game. I know it's nothing like it, but it got me interested in the lore of the series. I wanted to see it from a non-comedical standpoint. The comedy in this still great. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot better for people who've played the series or watched people play the series because it's very referential to the games, as obviously it should be. It's a great parody series. With an interesting way of like kind of showing some of the lore. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I am really enjoying it so far. Then we've got Honey Lemon Soda Volume 5, and I feel like I'm finally reaching the point where I'm getting the hype behind this series. Um, I mean, just generally, I love the characters in it, and I love the art styles and how the characters are developing. Um, Not really too much I can say about this volume. We do have some drama with main main female lead's father and him kind of reflecting on how she is, how her exact personality has become through her life, and that's really interesting to find out about. Anyways, next up we have The Other World's Books Depend on the Bean Counter, Volume 4. Um, We have a lot of dialogue in this volume. I feel like it hasn't been that much dialogue in these last few volumes, but this one's very wordy. We're getting a lot of political intrigue introduced in this volume. A little less BL, a little more romance complications. Still really good series. I know Cake Tins is super crazy into this series. It's a good one though. My partner's the one who got me interested in it, so I'm happy about that. Anyways, next we have Shadow's House Volume 6, another series with a giant overarching mystery that just slowly gets bigger and bigger, and I'm really wondering how they're going to solve these sorts of things. And there's all these characters that are interacting with each other, building off each other, these plot twists. I mean, I think it's a great series. Maybe try the anime if you don't want to commit to the manga right now. Next, we have The Abandoned Empress Volume 7. Um, we are getting very close to the ending, and we can kind of tell with this volume. It seems like they're starting to set up the big final bang of this series. I've very much enjoyed it going so far. I just find it funny that just the odd cleavage window on this volume, it makes you think it's something completely different than it usually is. But yeah, it's an enjoyable series. I want to hold my judgment until it finishes because I've heard the ending's very questionable. But yeah, a lot of really interesting stuff happens in this volume, and we're getting ready to wrap it up soon. Speaking of wrapping up soon, we've got Coffee Moon Volume 5. This series I've very much fallen out of love with. The art style's still fantastic, but it's difficult to follow the action sometimes, and I'm not a huge fan of the plot. It does kind of seem like all over the place at the moment, so I really don't know how they're going to resolve it, especially in, I think, one or two more volumes. Definitely check it out for yourself if you want to see, because I might just not be the smartest with telling what the story's doing. Then we've got Delicious in Dungeon, Volume 13. Minor spoiler on this cover, so be warned. I can't talk about this too much without spoiling what's happening in the series currently, but we're on the semifinal volume and things are getting crazy. Absolutely bonkers, bananas, wild. So I'm really, really wondering what in the world they're going to do to wrap this series up in the next volume. Yeah, then we've got the villainess, If the Villainess and Villain Met and Fell in Love. I really like this. I don't normally see the villain characters represented. I only ever see villainesses. I don't normally see the a male counterpart to them in these sorts of series, so I'm really interested in this. Um, we also get to have some explanation of the magic system in this world. We get to see how it's interesting. I like the romance, but I also like the world building that happens in this very first volume. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the series does. I don't think I need to explain the concept because it pretty much in the title, If the Villainess and Villain Met and Fell in Love. Then we've got Cat Gamer Volume 4, just another cute, wholesome cat series, but with a girl who loves gaming. And we get in this volume, spoiler alert, the next kitty. And we get to kind of see how these two cats learn to love each other and learn to be with each other. That's the new kitty on the cover there, very rubby belly. That was weird. I'm moving on. Next, we have Usotoki Rhetoric. This is a series that I accidentally fell behind on, so I had two volumes that I picked up and read this month, Volume 5 and Volume 6. I'm kind of mixed on this series. I don't think the mysteries are that well explored or the solutions are that interesting. I like the art style and the characters, and we are getting closer to the end. I think there's only a few volumes left. We do get some exploration of more family issues in these volumes. I think it's volume 6 specifically. It's an enjoyable series. It's a good shoujo series. But if you want a shoujo mystery, I would definitely recommend Don't Call It Mystery over this. But completely different series. This is also an interesting period piece as well, with some good comedy in it. Darn, that's on the camera too. Okay, and then next we have another series like that, where I fell behind by a volume. So we've got If My Favorite Pop Idol Made It to the Budokan 4 and 5. Gorgeous, gorgeous covers and spines. I love them so much. I'm really enjoying this series. I wish the releases were a little bit faster. Um, it's got some, it's got cute GL elements to it with a lot of different characters bouncing off each other. I think my only issue is kind of a personal one, just because I'm not used to differentiating faces that much. A lot of the girls in this series have somewhat similar faces, so it does make it a bit difficult for me to tell who's who. Um, just based on the fact that there's no hair colors and some of the hairstyles are similar, so it's hard to differentiate sometimes. I'm hoping that comes with practice. I'm also not the best at just telling facial features, but yeah, very cute, enjoyable GL series. If not a little bit slow on some of the GL elements. Next, we've got another Smash series, Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. This does have a big age gap, but it's between two adults. Um, I mean, it's definitely going to be a romance between the two. They're definitely hinting at it. I really enjoyed the humor. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the exploration of the characters and the story so far. It's very simple premise. Um, this guy has a cashier he loves at this convenience store he always goes to after work. And then, spoiler alert, he sees her um, back behind the store when he's trying to look for somewhere to smoke. And he doesn't know that that's secretly the same cashier, just dressed completely differently. So she kind of prods at him, plays with him a little bit, and it seems to be like a romance developing between the two. Very fun, good series so far. Definitely looking forward to more of it. Then we've got a few more series before the big one. We've got Cherry Magic Volume 10 featuring the beginning of. I don't think they get married in this volume. I think they're planning their marriage. I'm not exactly sure, but we do have some. Uh, one of the characters coming out to their friends, which is really interesting. It's still such a cute, fun series. Um, the anime is a great way to view it as well if you don't want to commit to a longer series. It's like $15 per volume for not a lot of content. Then we've got Mr. Villain's Day Off, Volume 3. I'm enjoying this series as well. It's very light on story, but it does have some character explorations in this volume. Um, I believe that's. I might be getting confused with the anime because we were watching the anime at the same time. But we have a lot of good vignette stories where it's like these brief stories exploring characters. I just realized that's gotten. Oh no, it's because of this. I did it again. I need to get more used to this angle. Yeah, cute series, great art. Another Pixiv series. It's very short. You don't get a lot of content for the amount of uh, money you pay for it, but that's just kind of how it is. Next, we have Team Phoenix Volume 2, featuring Blackjack on the cover with a chin that could cut open a can. The story for this is really, it's a lot. I definitely feel like I might enjoy it more if I knew the characters better and I understood all the references it was making, but it seems like a lot is happening in these first couple volumes. Like it doesn't seem like they're doing a lot of setup. It just seems like a bit of setup and boom, instantly into the huge action pieces. So I'm really wondering what's how the series is going to go going forward, especially after reading volume 3, which is going to be in next month's video. Lastly, we have a Kickstarter thing that I picked up and read this month. It is Isaki Uda, The Lost and Found Collection. Now, if I can actually get this to work with me. So this came with 4 of Isaki Uta's doujinshis. Isaki Uta is a mangaka, obviously. Um, gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of the one shot that she had published over here recently. Um, the one that she's most known for is Mine-kun is Asexual, which is published in this box set. But she had a book published um, over in the West in English that I don't remember the name of, but it was a really good series. It was a really good book, and it made me want to check out her doujinshis. And I saw that these were getting kickstarted, so I wanted to try them. So first of all, we've got the big one that a lot of people know about. Mine-kun is Asexual, a very good exploration of asexuality, and I think it's a great doujinshi in general. Then we've got a name that I cannot read from the cover, so I have to look at the spine. Mermaid in the Bottle. Yes. Uh, kind of like not a psychological, but like a fantasy sort of mixing with the real world and exploration of the main characters and their decisions. There's not a lot to describe with some of these. They're shorter series, but they're all 4 of them are really good. Silkscreen is another story about sexuality, which was really enjoyable. It was great exploration of um, character sexualities and also how sexuality things get a little bit confusing and more complicated when characters end up transitioning and becoming somebody who the other person wasn't expecting them to be. I don't really know too much about that type of topic, so I'm not going to say much more about it. I think it's a very good read though. But my favorite's definitely Leaper. It's got a sci-fi concept with gorgeous art. It's a fantastic read. I think you can. I don't know if you can get these from Irodori's website. Um, I got them through the Kickstarter. I'm sure there's a way to read them online though. But yeah, I would definitely recommend all four of these doujinshi. I think Isaki Uta is a fantastic mangaka, and I really hope that we get more of her works published over here. I say her, but I don't know anything about their gender, so I'm probably just going to say their. So I hope we get more of their works published over here. I think they're fantastic at what they do. But with that in mind, that is everything I wanted to talk about that I read for March of 2024. So I really appreciate all of the attention you guys are giving me and feedback, comments, anything you want to leave below. Feel free. Hopefully, this video is a lot more palatable than my previous ones due to me trying to fix the setup. But yeah, thanks so much for all your continued support, and I will talk to you guys in a few weeks. Bye bye.